Hello, happy Saturday. Thank you so much for joining. We are doing yoga with your friends, and we are all friends. We're all virtual friends. And I am incredibly grateful for all of you for just connecting and joining and being here today. So I hope you have a friend in your mind, near or far, family member, friend, whatever, animal, whatever, dog, cat, whatever is representative in your life as a friend. So happy to have you here. And we are going to move around for 45 minutes. All levels class, take it at your own pace. And, oh, here's my friend. She has to always come in at this point. So we are going to start by lying on our backs. And I'd like you to stretch out. So lying on your backs, stretching out. Biggest breath of the month. And the other important thing is today is the first day of spring. First day of spring 2021, or at least I think it's the first day of spring. If not, it's tomorrow. It's very soon. Here's my friend who's been with me all along for this past year of virtual yoga. You guys are stretching out, grab onto your left wrist and pull over to the right side. So you guys are stretching, you have your left wrist, you're pulling over to the right side. I have to give my friend here some props. Thank you, friend, for being with me through all of these virtual classes. All right, and you're going to grab onto your right wrist and pull to the other side. You guys are still lying on your backs. We have to think about what our friends have done for us in terms of keeping our moods positive and feeling good over the past year of challenges. And it's just, it's good to have friends anyway, even if they're dogs. And now interlace your fingers and stretch your palms away. So you guys are still on your backs. Stretch, stretch, stretch. I want you to stretch all the way down your body, out your toes. Nice big deep breath. Turn your head from side to side a couple of times. And then release your arms. We're going to start to move into the lower body. Let's bend our knees into our chest. You can begin to gently rock from side to side on your low back, or just hug your legs in if that feels more comfortable. And then have one hand on each knee, and I want you just to start to kind of push the knees forward, one at a time. You can still keep them bent. You're just putting a little extra movement into the hips at this point. Take some breaths. We'll do this just for one more moment. And then bring both of your knees to touch, and then let's stretch our legs up in the air. And we're going to start to release the ankles. Take some big breaths. Nice big deep breath. Squeeze and release your toes. I'm going to let someone else. Oh, okay. We're going to bring our feet down to the ground. And I want you just to let your arms rest alongside the body. Palms are flat. We're going to give our head another couple seconds here of turning. Just release. This can just give you an idea of how things are feeling if you have tightness in your neck or in the shoulders. And then we'll just come back to center. Let's take our right leg. We're going to cross it over the left. I want you to make sure you keep your foot flexed. You can totally stay like this if this is giving you some sort of stretch. If you want a little bit more, though, you're going to grab your left thigh, pull your leg in. Maybe for those that feel like this will give you some extra good sensation, you can rock from side to side. If not, stay still. Always good. Let's take 2 more breaths. And then we'll try something a little different here if you feel like it's available to you. We're going to actually grab onto the right leg. So one hand on the knee, one hand on the bottom of your foot. Let your left leg stretch out. And then let's just start to move this right leg around. So you're still keeping your foot flexed. You're still protecting your knee by doing that. Just moving the leg around in any way that feels available. So it's okay if you're kind of holding your leg this way, if you're not pulling the shin towards your face. It just depends on what is working for you and your body. So let's do this just for another, let's say 2 breaths. And then we'll release the leg by stretching it up in the air, and we'll just give it another opportunity to move that ankle around, squeeze and release your toes. Maybe you want to actually pull your leg in towards your face a little bit more, like really drawing the leg towards you, getting that extra pull in the back of the leg, in the back of the thigh, in your hamstring, maybe even filling it up into your glute muscle. Okay, and then we're going to just bring both knees back, so having both knees in, one hand on each kneecap again, and we'll go back to it's like we're gears. Our legs are gears. It's like you're driving a standard car. Actually my favorite type of car to drive. Don't have one now though, just automatic. All right, take another breath. And then bring both feet flat to the ground. Again, let your arms relax alongside the body. This time, turn your palms to face up, and you can pull your arms a little bit away from the body. And if your neck feels okay to do this, we're going to do one more moment here of turning the chin from side to side. Relax your spine. Remember to breathe. And we'll come back to center. Pardon me. Take your left ankle, cross it over the right thigh. Stay like this if this gives you a stretch. Keep your foot flexed. If you can tolerate it, grab your right thigh and we'll start to have a deeper sensation here. You can think about pressing your low back into the ground. Again, coming back to your breathing. Don't hold your breath. So easy to hold your breath when we get into these deeper stretches that really are in our big muscle groups. And then if you're like me and if you kind of like to rock from side to side, go for it. See how that feels. We'll take 2 more breaths. And we're going to grab onto the leg again. So you have a hand on the bottom of the foot, hand on the knee. Stretch your right leg out. And we'll start to move that top leg around. And again, you modify as needed. Let's take a couple more breaths. Keep your foot flexed. And come back to center. Stretch your leg up in the air. Roll your ankle around. Squeeze and release your toes. Release any tightness that you just felt in holding those postures. Maybe get that big stretch by pulling your leg in closer towards you and really feeling it on the back of the thigh. Always breathing. And let's release the leg, bring both feet flat to the ground, but this time bring them to the outside edges of the mat so they're nice and wide apart. And we're going to start to drop the legs from side to side in windshield wiper knees. Pull your arms away from you if you like. Let's take big, deep breaths here. I want you to breathe in through your nose, breathe out through your nose. Maybe feel your belly expanding, contracting. Nice soft jaw. And one more either side. And we're going to bring our knees in again. This time, I'd like you to hug your head and shoulder, or lift your head and shoulders up, hug yourself in, draw your abdominal muscles, really start to warm up your core here for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Release your head and shoulders down. So we're going to do something a little bit deeper with the legs. Similar to the gears that we were doing before, but this is going to be a little bit more. So I want you to keep your head and shoulders on the ground to start with. We're going to take the right leg and stretch it out and let the leg hover. And then we'll do the same with the left. So we're just going to alternate. So keep your core nice and strong. Draw your belly button in towards your spine. And you're just extending and bending as you pull it in. So you're trying to keep your legs hovering as low to the ground as you can tolerate. Of course, you can keep them up higher if that is what is working for you. It's all okay. But we try to open up the hips a little bit to sort of prepare for this type of repetitive movement. So keep your core nice and strong. Try to think about trying to draw your low back in towards the floor. Doesn't mean it needs to be flush and stuck there the whole time. It's just that's the engagement that you're working on. Okay, so we're going to continue doing this. I'm going to offer one more element for those that want a little bit more. You can, actually, let's do it this way. You can grab onto a leg and pull in a little bit deeper and squeeze in. So it's like I'm pulling my knee in and I'm lifting my shoulder blades off the ground. You could also do this by, if you wanted to support your neck, you could have your hands underneath, just kind of holding up your head slightly, and then you could probably lift up. Yeah, you can do that too. That works as well. So we've been doing this now for a good chunk of time. You must be feeling it. Let's do this for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1, and then release. Bring your legs out, bring your arms over your head. Lots of big stretches into the belly, into the sideways. And now you know why we stretched out our neck a little bit at the beginning, because if you were lifting it up there, you might feel like you need to release it for a moment or two. Okay, bring your arms back alongside your body. Have your feet flat to the ground. We're going to set up in bridge pose. So your feet are hip distance apart. I want you to anchor the backs of your arms, your triceps, into the ground. And you're going to have your arms up. Palms are facing in towards each other. And I call this the robot arms, right? So it's like you're holding a beach ball in between your hands, but you're going to push down through your triceps as you lift up through your hips. So inhale, lifting up through your hips. Push those triceps into the ground. Push your feet into the ground to activate your leg muscles. And take a nice big breath in. Exhale out. And then we'll relax back down. You can just soften the arms for a minute. So what we're trying to do by anchoring the triceps in is push up even higher, so you're getting a deeper chest opening, and you're also possibly feeling a deeper stretch in your neck, so the top of your spine. If anything doesn't feel good, just ease off, right? You are in control of the pose. All right. Push the triceps into the ground, feet planted. Inhale, lift up. Big breath. Relax your jaw. Let's take a second breath. And then we'll come all the way down. Okay, we're going to do one last time. Maybe even moving up a little bit higher. So inhale, lifting up. Anchor those triceps down. Anchor your feet into the ground. Use your strong legs to lift your hips up even higher. Big breath. I want you to puff the belly out like a balloon, clear out anything that just is stuck and needs to come out. One last breath. And relax, coming all the way down. Relax your arms. We're going to stretch the legs out. Just take a neutral position for a minute. So just a little bit of core work to warm us up to start off the beginning of our class. Okay, bring the soles of your feet together. Let your knees open out to the sides. This will just release into the hip flexors a little bit of the hip flexors, and also into the inner thighs. As always, if you feel like your neck needs another little stretch, go for it. Just gently turn from side to side. It's good to always try to have lots of fluid movement with that upper spine, that cervical spine area, because that is a part of our body that gets, it shows our age. It really does. You can be like 25 years old and, pumping iron all the time, but you can find it difficult to look over your shoulder because your neck is tight. All right, one more breath. Bring your knees in. We're going to bring ourselves up and forward, however you want to do that. Roll up and down on your spine a couple times. Bring yourself around, come onto your hands and knees into a tabletop position. Let's open up our back. So we'll take some nice releasing stretches here. Cat-cow. Pull the breath in through your nose. Exhale out. Let's do a couple more of these. And then we'll come back into a flat back, so just a regular tabletop. I want you to take your right hand, bring it directly under your face, take your left arm, reach it out to the side, and then we're going to start to open up here. So reach up towards the ceiling with your left hand. Don't worry about where you're looking with your neck. Keep your neck in the most comfortable position. What I want you to do though, if you feel like you're really pressing heavily down through your right hand, I want you to sort of lift yourself up and out. So it's like you're subtly transferring some of the weight up towards the top hand, feeling a little less pressure on the bottom hand. It doesn't mean you float your hand off the ground, of course. Take another breath, open up your ribs, and come all the way back down. Maybe just do a little shaking of the hips, kind of a little party with your hips just to release. And then we're going to do the other side. So left hand directly under the face. Take your right arm out to the side and then begin to stretch and open up. Again, don't worry about where you're looking. Lots of breaths into the belly. And then subtly, it's like you're trying to pull the weight out of that planted hand. Lift it up towards the fingers. One more breath and release, come down. And then again, shake it out, have a little party, sway your head. And then let's come back into wide knees child's pose. Nice big stretch. Big toes touching, knees are wide apart. Push your hips from side to side if you want. Continue with your swaying, whatever feels good for you. All right, maybe make some fists with your hands and we'll roll the wrists around. Just give them a little stretch. Maybe you're lucky and you hear some cracking. Ooh, so delicious to hear the cracking in the wrists. And from here, bring yourself all the way up when you are ready into a downward facing dog. And of course, downward facing dog can always be modified by coming into a tabletop position. You can always stay in child's pose, whatever works for you. But we are going to just pedal it out. Shake out your head. Shake your head yes and no. Stretch into the backs of the legs. Keep your hands, if you're in downward dog, hands are shoulder distance apart with your fingers spread nice and wide, pressing down on all of your finger pads. And then downward dog people, perhaps you'd like to come up on your tiptoes. Engage your abdominal muscles, push your hips up towards the ceiling, and then sink down through your heels any amount. Let's do that a couple more times. Inhale, lifting up. Push your tailbone up towards the ceiling and sink down through your heels any amount. Last time. Inhale, lifting up. Push the tailbone up. Sink down through your heels any amount. And then from here, let's float forward to a high plank. If you want, of course, you can bring your knees down. Holding here in your high plank, nice and strong. Draw your abdominal muscles in. Think about the back work that we did before, especially the low back, when we were coming up into the bridge poses. Think of how strong and stable you are in the torso. Engage your thighs. We're going to hold here for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, press back into downward facing dog, and then bring yourself down into wide knees child's pose. You can certainly stay in downward dog if you like, or stay in a plank. It's all good. But for the rest of us, let's take a few breaths here. Again, maybe releasing your most beautiful wrists. Okay, so we're going to just take an opportunity now to move around a little bit more, get the blood flowing. So let's bring ourselves up into downward facing dog. Take your right leg, reach it up nice and high. Just point your toe to the ceiling as if you're going to just effortlessly do that. Maybe you have a really low ceiling where you are, and then in which case you are lucky. All right, bring your leg down. Left leg comes up. Stretching it up, stretching it up. Keep your arms nice and strong, and then lower it down. Let's look forward to the top of the mat, and we're going to walk our feet up, or you can take a big step, whichever you prefer, all the way up to the top. I'm walking up. Once you get there, just fold forward, shake out your shoulders, maybe turn your head from side to side, yes and no. Keep your belly muscles nice and strong. We're going to roll ourselves up, bone by bone, all the way. Take some breaths. Release your shoulders. So we are standing at the top of the mat. I'd like you to bring your feet as close together as you can do it comfortably, heels slightly apart, standing up nice and tall. Imagine you're at the doctor's office and you're being measured. I want you to pull yourself up to that measuring thingy that they use, that metal thing, and just try to get your full height. Beautiful. Okay. So standing nice and tall, we're going to take our arms, inhale up, exhale, folding forward. Bring your hands to your shins, lengthening into a flat back. Bring your hands to the ground, and we'll step back into downward facing dog. Take a couple seconds to get grounded, nice and steady. If you'd like, take your right leg up in the air. This time we're going to bend the knee open, a little different from before. Keep your shoulders square to the mat. And now step your foot up between your hands, come down on your left heel, and we're going to come up into Warrior One. So arms are straight up. You're trying to tilt and face forward, trying to think of having the center of your chest facing forward. Back foot is planted, heel is planted. Kind of a tricky pose for the hips, right? But we work on it and we see what happens over time. Let's interlace our hands behind our back. Stretch the arms away from you. Open up your chest. Maybe you feel like you want to look up a little bit. And then we're going to hinge forward at the hips, the waist, coming into humble warrior. Stretch your hands up towards the ceiling as much as you feel that is available to you. And perhaps you're even able to not rest any weight on your thigh. Super strong legs. Keep your core strong. Lift back up. Come all the way back up. Warrior One. From here, we're going to open up into Warrior Two. So you basically keep your legs in the same position. You might have to walk them out slightly. Right arm is forward, left arm is back. And now your torso faces to the left. You're no longer trying to face in the same direction as the leg. So legs are open. Keep that front leg open. Relax the shoulders. Keep your neck nice and juicy. One more breath. Flip your right palm. And we're going to sweep back, reverse warrior. If you want, take your left hand, drape it behind your back. So we've been on this bent leg for a little bit of time. Your right leg, I'm sure you're feeling it. That's okay. Get the lactic acid going. And we'll come back into Warrior Two. Let's take our hands either side of the front foot, step back into downward facing dog. Give yourself a couple seconds, pedal it out. And if you'd like, come forward to a high plank. We are going to count it down, holding our high plank for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then if you'd like, knees down or keep them raised. Lower yourself down in a tricep push-up, chaturanga. Tops of the feet to the mat. Inhale, Cobra. Curl your toes under. Downward facing dog. Okay, let's take a couple big breaths here, like maybe 3 breaths. Now we're going to do the other side. So when you're ready, left leg comes up in the air, bend the knee open. Again, really try to open up your hip. Keep your shoulders square to the mat. Nice big breath. And then step your foot up between your hands, planting down through your right heel, coming up, warrior one. So again, just working on trying to rotate the shoulders facing forward, back leg stays straight. You're trying not to bend your knee, but the front leg, of course, is bent at 90 degrees to the best of your ability. Nice big breaths of air, opening up the body on a beautiful spring Saturday morning. Like I said, I'm not 100% sure it's actually officially spring yet, but we're going to just go with it. Actually, I think spring is tomorrow now that I'm thinking about it. You guys are probably, you all know. Okay. Whatever, it's the spring weekend. Interlace your hands behind your back. Big stretch through the heart, big breath, maybe looking up. And then fold forward. Push your hands up towards the ceiling, any amount that you can. Nice, powerful, strong legs. Maybe trying to not rest any weight on the thigh. Remember to breathe. And then bring yourself all the way back up. Warrior one arms, warrior one. And now let's move into warrior two. So this time now, your torso, your belly is going to face to the other side, to the right. Open up your left thigh. Make sure you can see your big toe. Left arm forward, right arm back. Equally planting down through both feet. Trying to have your shoulders over the hips as opposed to leaning forward. That happens a lot, so we try to pull ourselves back. Flip your left palm, and now sweep that arm back. You can take your right arm, drape it behind your back. This is a position where I often will see people lose their lunge a little bit, so be aware if you can stay into the lunge, maybe even move in a little more deeply because you know in a couple seconds we're going to be out of it. Come back into warrior two. And then bring your hands either side of the front foot. Step yourself back into either downward facing dog, pedaling it out, or come forward to a high plank. Anchoring yourself in for a delicious count of 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, either with the knees down or raised. Lower yourself down with control. Inhale into Cobra. Curl your toes under, back into downward facing dog. Let's take 5 breaths here. You can always take tabletop or child's pose. 2 more breaths. And then we're going to look forward to the top of the mat, however you want to get to the top. You can walk forward, take a big lunge step, or hop. Once you get to the top, inhale and lengthen into a flat back. Fold forward. Take your arms out to the sides, come all the way up with the arms, and bring your hands down through your heart. Okay, release your hands. I bet you're feeling a little warmer. We're going to do that one more time. We're going to do it smoother, dancier, flowier. The body and the mind have an idea of what to expect now, so it's going to just come more naturally. I want you to see what changes this second time around. So let's start back with getting measured at the Phantom Doctor. You're being measured, pull yourself up tall. Feels really good to stand up tall, right? Inhale, exhale. Okay. Let's take the arms up in the air and fold forward. Hands to the shins, lengthening into a flat back. Bring your hands to the ground. Step back into downward facing dog. Give your legs a couple seconds, pedal them out. We'll bring our right leg up in the air, bend the knee open. Step your foot up between your hands, coming down on your left heel, warrior one. Nice big breath. Interlace your hands behind your back. Inhale, fold forward. As you exhale, humble warrior. Inhale back up, warrior one. Move into warrior two. Flip your right palm, sweep back, reverse warrior. Come back, warrior two. Hands either side of the front foot, stepping back either into downward facing dog or high plank for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lowering down, coming up into Cobra, curling the toes under, downward facing dog. Let's take 4 breaths. Sway it out, dance it out. Beautiful breath in and out through your nose. Okay, left leg goes up in the air. Bend the knee open. Step your foot up between your hands. Plant down on the right heel. Warrior one. Interlace your hands behind your back and hinge forward. Humble warrior. Inhale, coming all the way back up. Warrior one. Glide into warrior two. Flip your left palm, sweep back, reverse. Come back, warrior two. Hands either side of the front foot, stepping back either downward dog or high plank. If you're in high plank, let's make this happen. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lower down. Come up into Cobra. Curl the toes under. Downward facing dog. 3 breaths. Pull the oxygen in through your nose. Expel it out through your nose. And we're going to look forward to the top of the mat, however you want to get to the top. Step, walker, hop, all the way up. Inhale. Exhale, fold. Arms out to the sides as you come all the way up with the hands and down through the heart. And you did it. Nice job. So here, while we're standing, let's take advantage of that and we'll do a little bit of a balance. A nice opening up balance for our Yoga with Friends on a weekend of spring. We're going to take our right foot. I'd like you to bring your foot inside your left leg, either above or below the knee. You can also have your toes touching the ground. We're going to come into tree pose. So whatever variation you are working on, I'd like you to try to open up your thigh. Don't lock your standing leg, but open up your thigh. Our hips have gone through lots of good stretches and poses. So hopefully we can feel that flexibility, and I want you to lift up nice and tall through the crown of your head like you're being measured. Same feeling. Maybe bring hands to the heart. Maybe release the arms up. Take any other variation here. Maybe change your eyes, your view to a part of the room you wouldn't normally look at. Maybe close them. Big breath. Let's take in spring breaths. And we'll bring our hands back down through the heart and release the leg. Shake it out. All right, nice job. Let's do the other side. So trying to do what you did to one leg, try and do that to the other. So just remember, above or below the knee, never on the knee. Open up your thigh a little bit more. Lift yourself up nice and tall. Beautiful height. Strengthen your body. Your shoulders are back. This is why you're practicing yoga. You're going to be strong. Strong and flexible. Maybe arms up. Who knows? One leg is different than the other. Big breath. Let's do one last breath. And bring your hands down through your heart. and release your leg, release the hands, and shake it out. We're going to make our way down to the mat, but I'm going to just offer up one more stretch for the hips if this works for your knees. And this is where you may have your prop, your block, or your book. We're going to come into Malasana, which is a squat pose. I want you to have your feet wide apart, relatively wide apart, with your toes not pointing inwards. Just either have them forward or a little bit out. And we're going to just start to make our way down. If you can, if the knees do not allow this, then don't push it, but you can do things like sit on your prop. That takes some of the weight out of the knees. Maybe come up on your tiptoes, releasing some of the tightness in the Achilles and of course in the legs. Perhaps you're there already. Perhaps you're able to bring your feet flat to the ground. You find what works. The other thing you can also do is use a wall and lean against the wall if you don't have the block, so that you're just trying to offset some of the pressure off of the knees. You find what works for your body. Everybody, let's take wherever we are at. If you are down and you're trying to push the arms inside the legs, I want you to think about lifting up through your spine and trying to open up and lift up nice and tall so that you're not hunched forward. Lots of options. Let's take 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then we'll bring our hands to the ground. Just come into a standing forward fold. Just maybe push your hips from side to side. Actually, I know what we're going to do. Wide feet. Just move from side to side. We'll do a little bit of a hip floss here, which is a super nice compliment after doing, like a body compliment after doing that deep stretch. So just a couple more seconds here. You're just pushing from side to side. Hands on the ground, hands on the prop. Okay. If you are still upright, I want you to just slowly bring yourself up. Just take a couple breaths. We're just going to let any upside down feelings, any rush of blood, just let it subside. And now we're going to bring ourselves onto the ground. So everybody carefully, gently bring yourself down to the floor to a seated position. We're going to stretch out both of our legs, and I want you just to take an easy forward fold. So round your back, bend your knees, do whatever feels good to you right now. And then we'll come back up. Let's take our right leg, we'll step it over the left, and we're going to pull ourselves up nice and tall. And I want us to get a good twist here, a good stretch in our back, in the outside hip, across the belly, and of course, opening up the shoulders. Now, if you feel like you want to take a little deeper version, you can take your left elbow and tuck it on the outside of the right thigh, coming into like a stop sign hand. Some of you might want to take that stop sign hand and thread it underneath, in between your legs. Oops, there we go. Okay. And take your other arm behind you and go for a bind. Partial bind. So do what makes sense. If you start to collapse and roll forward, then you know you're losing the integrity of the stretch, and then just go back. Go back to whatever makes sense. Let's take one more breath. And we'll come back to center. I'd like you to take your right knee, rest it on your bottom leg knee. Keep your bottom leg, your left foot flexed, and fold forward. So you're pushing down on the left leg. It should be giving you a more intense stretch, especially behind the knee. And we'll come all the way back up. Let's release the legs, give them just a little shake. And now we're going to do the twisting on the other side. So left leg will step over, twist towards the bent knee, towards the left. Pull yourself up nice and tall. Don't clench your teeth if that's inadvertently happening. Remember, consider tucking the elbow on the outside of the thigh, maybe threading your hand inside the leg and reaching around with your left hand and then trying to bind. Keep pulling yourself up tall and long through your spine. Take one more breath. And then we'll come back to center. Just let your knee rest. So again, pressure on that right leg. Keep your right foot flexed. And we're going to fold forward. Nice big breath. And we'll come back up. Let's release the leg. Let's do one more little stretch to open up the heart and also put a little stretch in the wrists. I want you to bring your hands to the ground, to the mat, with the fingers pointing towards you. And you're going to start to lean back gently. And you're, again, in control of how much you want to lean back. I want you to try to pull your elbows, sort of tuck them in towards each other so that you feel stuff happening in the shoulders, and it's stretching into the collarbones and to the chest area. And especially, I want you to just be aware of that big stretch that's happening around your heart. Take a nice big breath into your heart space. Maybe opening up your throat a little bit, but always, in tune with what your body likes. Nice big stretch into your heart, into your chest, opening up your lungs. And then we're going to climb ourselves back up. Let's bring the soles of our feet together, letting your knees open out to the sides, press your elbows inside your legs, and we'll just either hinging forward at your hips with a straighter back, or you can certainly tuck your chin into your chest and make your back into a C and super curve. And come all the way back up. Let's do one more thing seated. We're going to do windshield wiper knees, but we'll do it while seated because it gives you a nice little twist. So feet are wide apart, hands are on the ground, fingers can be pointing away from you, not in a specific way. I want you just to start to drop your knees from side to side. So this is similar to what we have done when we're on our backs and we do windshield wiper knees. But you get to go all the way around and get a nice little twist in your spine and all the way around. I like this pose. I know a lot of people, not a lot of people, but some people don't always like doing the windshield wiper knees seated, prefer doing them lying down, which is fine. I can appreciate that. But the downside of that is you lose this twist. So even if you can, for like a couple times, just try the twist and then, revert back to being on your back and just doing the windshield wiper knees on your back. Just get that nice twist a few times. So you guys keep doing this. It's okay if you're holding and taking like 10 breaths on one side. Do what nourishes you. Listen to your body. Let's give everybody 30 more seconds to just complete your windshield wiper knees in the fashion that you're doing. And then we're going to just make our way onto our backs. So just taking your time to make your way onto your backs when you're ready. And we'll bring our knees into our chest, pulling the knees wider apart. Perhaps come into happy baby. Interesting happy baby, similar position to Malasana or the squat pose that we did earlier. Think about how that was. All yoga is the same, like 8 poses, just in different positions. Standing, sitting, lying. All right, one more breath in, pardon me, happy baby. And then let's just stretch our legs up into the air. just as part of our closing sequences of poses, different ones, different things that we can do every time, but then there's like the key ones that I always come back to in my own practice and obviously the practice that I share with you. So let's take 5 more breaths. Notice how your breath is. Notice any changes in your body. And start to bring your legs down to the ground. Stretch your legs out onto the mat. Give yourself a couple seconds to recalibrate, have the blood rush back into the legs. You might feel tingles, which is quite lovely. And then we're going to bend the right knee in, left hand on your knee, bring your leg across the body. Let's do one more twist. Big deep breath in, exhale out. Come all the way back. Left leg comes in. Stretch. Big breath in, big breath out. And then all the way back. Arms over your head. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful stretch. Inhale, and then exhale through your mouth. Let's do that one more time. Inhale and exhale through your mouth. And you can roll over to your right side and come up to a seated position. Let's bring our hands to our heart and close our eyes and have to be grateful for our friends, family, animals, whatever, near and far in our hearts. So thank you so much and have a wonderful Saturday, everybody. Namaste.